This is my 1987 BMW 325 IS. I bought it last year to be more social, go on some drives, maybe make some friends. I spent the last 12 months and a good amount of money making this car into something that's fun to drive and reflects my personal style. I am very happy with it. So yesterday, we tore it all apart. New suspension, new engine, new brakes, new wheels, this, new exhaust, and various miscellaneous heres and theres to tie everything together. It's serious. Every single part of this car is gonna be redone, making it better than ever. A car that I not only love to live with, but a car that I wanna be buried with. And we're gonna do it all in the next 5 days. So by the end of this week, I'm either gonna have the car I've dreamed of since I was a wee little lad, or I'm gonna feel like a idiot. I'm James, welcome to Donut.
Now you might be wondering why. Why am I ripping apart my perfectly good project car? Well, to answer that question, let's get up to speed on BMW's racing history.
The M3 is, of course, the creme de la creme of BMW racing history, but a whole decade before that car even came out, the E30 began its life. 2 years after the E30 was released, to fanfare from fanboys, the Germans, Z3M Racing, not just BMW, but all of the Germans, the Deutsche Tourenwagenmeisterschaft, launched as an all-out battle between all the German production cars. And the chosen weapons were Group A touring cars. Cars that looked like the cars you drove, but on a racetrack. In 1985, BMW poured their little German hearts into the 323i in hopes of making it as successful on the track as it was in dealership lots. The inline six under the hood pushed out only 214 horsepower, which was not a lot compared to the competition, but it did have the advantage of being the lightest car in the field at just over 900 kilograms. Unfortunately, most tracks during that season were very long and very fast, allowing the more powerful big turbo cars to stack up wins. But when they got to the tight Mainz-Finthen, BMW finally had their shot. They took full advantage with their lighter chassis, barely squeezing out a technical win on the tight winding track. It would be the only checkered flag for that car in all of DTM history. BMW gave up on the little 323, sent it packing, and called in the all-new M3, which had been designed from the bottom up specifically to win in DTM. And it did. A lot. More than anybody else. But I don't have an E30 M3. I've got a regular E30. But by the end of this week, we're gonna have what I imagine BMW would have built if they didn't make this thing and gave this thing more of a shot. It's gonna look better. It's gonna run better. It's gonna sound better. It's gonna stop better. And if BMW kept racing my car until like the mid-2000s, they would use this engine. BMW is known for making great inline six engines. And of all the BMW inline six cylinders, the S54 from the E46 M3 is the best option for what we're trying to do with this car. It won Engine of the Year 5 years in a row. Did you even know that was a thing? It is. This guy knew. He was there. He sat next to Adele! Straight out of the box in stock form, makes 320 wheel horsepower and revs over 8,000 RPM. And we've added a ton of upgrades to ours. High compression pistons, Schritt cams, a beautiful Turner Motorsport intake plenum, custom tune to make it all work together. In the end, we're gonna have a high revving, reliable, naturally aspirated straight six that uses a factory ECU, makes about 340 wheel horsepower, sounds incredible, looks great in the bay, and perhaps most importantly, retains factory AC. S54, the ultimate driving machine's stomach.
And to get this all done in only 5 days, I've enlisted the help of the definitive E30 expert and my personal friend, Chris Castro.
You built cars for Frank Ocean.
You've done Frank Ocean, Tyler the Creator.
Ashad Ware, that's actually how I know Chris. Chris found my car, which he had actually built like 12 years ago.
13 years.
He started working on my car.
They're like, yeah, I kind of want to keep it the same, and then Dude, that thing evolved like super quick.
In the garage, I'm always busy putting things together like brake kits and V8 engines. But this, I don't have time to make this. Thankfully, there's today's sponsor, Factor. They ship you fresh, never frozen meals right to your front door, and they're ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Factor's always giving you new flavors to explore with 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week. There's options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Veggie, or my choice, Protein Plus. Factor is awesome because I don't have to worry about what's for lunch. I can stay focused on what I do best, working in the garage. If your busy life is leading to unhealthy snacks or expensive takeout meals, do yourself a favor and get Factor. Head over to factor75.com or click the link below and use code DONUT50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's DONUT50 at factor75.com. Start eating good today.
Basically, we got 3 sections. One, we're gonna remove all the old crusty stuff. Then we're gonna prep the car, respray everything with like undercoating and stuff. And then we're gonna do the fun stuff, which is installing all the parts. So in this movie, there's a heavy third act. Let's get to work. So we're gonna replace the gas tank with the gas tank from a later model E30, bigger and easily serviceable. When we say we're replacing everything on the car, we're replacing everything on the car. So we're taking this cover off, then we're gonna pull these lines and replace them. So like not only stuff that's under the car, stuff that's under the car, but under a cover.
So that's for your external fuel pump that we're not gonna run anymore.
Yeah, so we're just cutting these off. We're gonna feed it through. And turn an Audi into an innie.
So we have like all hardware. So some of it's new, some of it's reconditioned, you know, everything, you name it, like it's in here. This is all for like braking stuff. We're literally gonna come to this cabinet and build James's car, all new stuff.
Well, that's another reason why like it's so good that we're doing this here, because we're running into tons of little stuff that's broken or rusted out or just like worn. And we walk over to Chris's chest of treasures that he's been collecting over the past however many years. Whereas like at very least, even if a parts store had it in stock, we'd have to send somebody out or go ourselves to pick it up. That's 30 minutes, an hour for every tiny little thing. And like, you do one thing well, it reaps benefits. All right, so last time I did an engine swap, I did not paint the bay, and you guys did not let me forget it. So this time, not only did we paint the bay, but we shaved it a little bit.
So we shaved all the unnecessary brackets, like the air flow meter bracket. Normally the ABS sensors on E30 run around the shock tower and go into these holes. We're still running ABS, but what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna hide most of the wiring.
The intention is to make it look like the engine was just in there and not a bunch of crap hanging off of it. It looks so sick. Perfect home for my perfect engine. All right, so we're gonna spray under the car with undercoating to seal it up so it doesn't rust when it gets all the dirt and water in there. Before we do that, I wanna make sure that none of that textured paint gets through the holes and into this shiny paint. So I'm just masking off any hole that goes to the ground. Anywhere I see light, I'm blocking. So I taped this hole up. Chris told me I did it wrong. Not wrong, but not how he usually does it. So there's this little lip right here. If you just tape over it, then when you spray the undercoating, it goes up and gets on the inside of that lip. And there's a chance we could run like an open strut bar, and then you can see down in there. We want that to be shiny. So we're taping up the little lip inside. Right now, I'm definitely feeling like a f***ing idiot. Still have a lot to learn from the master.
So the seam sealer does 2 things. It literally closes the seam between the overlapping metal. And it also, you know, all the little crevices that are open, it'll just kind of close everything, keep shit out. We're gonna shoot just the areas where we put seam sealer.
Dude, this makes such a difference of looking like a new car. All right, plan for today is run brake lines, fuel lines, put the suspension on, and then hopefully by the end of the day, drop the motor in.
Let's get to it.
Again, one of the benefits of working in a specialty shop, we need brake lines. So instead of ordering brake lines or bending new brake lines, we got a bunch of reconditioned or brand new powder coated brake lines bent perfectly. And I just get to choose from this bouquet of brake lines.
Of course, he chooses the worst one. I'm gonna go ahead and choose for you. Fuel lines and then the new brake line. So James' car originally, this one was rotted out, so we just put all new lines, are new to him.
Initiate chapter 2. Parts are starting to go on the car. Gonna put the front subframe on. This is like a thing that came off of the car, but one of the most exciting parts about this is everything's all powder coated. This holds the engine into the car. Now the engine has a place to live. When I first bought this car, it was to go for drives with my friends, be more social. Having Chris work on it and hanging out with him, I've made another great friend. Cars make good friends. I got this in a Chris size. You're gonna surprise me. Yo, Chris.
Damn, that's what's up. Check that out. This is sick. Things like this make it so much more satisfying.
I know. DonaMedia.com, get you one.
So we're gonna throw on the rear subframe. Yep, there we go, hold on.
Dude, like.
So just kind of guide them in there, and then I'll...
All refinished, all super clean, all nice. While we're doing everything else, we're also replacing the E30 steering rack with one from a Z3. The steering in an E30 stock is a little loose for most people's liking, and the Z3 rack is apparently the tightest one, so it'll be a lot more responsive. Aluminum control arms from the parts store. That ASMR.
James, pretend you're doing something, man.
I am. One of the things we're doing while we're rebuilding the cars, we're switching from 4x100, the bolt pattern that my car came with stock, to 5x120, which is what most BMWs are. There's a lot more 5x120 wheels than there are 4x100 wheels, but in order to do that, we have to change the coilovers. Ground Control has been nice enough to send us a set of custom coilovers built to spec for this car. When it comes to E30 stuff, Ground Control is the best. And they took into account the engine we're putting in. They asked me my tire size, what size wheels I'm running. So I assume that that went into what they did to them. Ground Control offers a ton of different camber plate options. We're going with the Street Touring camber plates, which has camber adjustability and just more comfortable in general to drive like every day, which is, again, why I'm building this car, to drive as much as possible. Suspension on.
Sick.
Yeah, dude. It's the first aftermarket part. Most importantly, most exciting is this high compression, shrink cammed S54 is gonna find a new home in the engine bay of that E30 by the end of the day. I'm so stoked. The car's gonna be completely transformed. This is what we dreamed of, Phyllis. This is what we've been working for since we were like 14 years old. Let's get to work. Getting closer to putting this engine in that car, very exciting. Like I said before, this is a high compression motor. So stock compression on an S54 is like 11.5 to 1. We put high compression ball pistons in it, so it's gonna be closer to like 12.1 to 1. And to let people know that this isn't just a regular S54, that it's a little bit spicier. So we're giving a little warning, red valve cover, little loud as is, but we have a dress up cover for it. Just enough red to let people know it's spicy. And then just because a Bentley oil cap. This was a little surprise that Chris gave me, which is that's hard, dude. That's cool. Just no stone unturned. So we went so far as to get a brand new M logo for our engine cover. So a lot of times when people do swaps or like builds to this extent, for some reason they just go to the most uncomfortable option immediately, whether that's like deleting AC or using solid engine mounts. This is a Castro hack that even though he shared it on the internet, people don't believe him. These are stock E46 engine mounts. So they're filled with fluid, and when the engine is in, it can vibrate and it won't shake the whole car apart. And all he did was flip them upside down. Makes us able to move the engine as far back as we want. And then when we're driving, we won't have like solid or polyurethane mounts because those are like very stiff, unforgiving, and cause a lot of vibration in the car. Just a little fun hack. These are the same kind of mounts that were in this car from 13 years ago. And when we pulled the old engine out, they were still in perfect condition. I told you guys today was gonna be a big day. I told you this car was gonna be transformed by the time we leave the shop tonight. We are about to drop the high compression S54 into the bay of my pretty little E30. Let's do it. This was a great plan. Everything's going super smooth. These are great friends. I'm having a good time. I've been non-stop excited. All right, engine officially in E-O-O-U. I am so stoked. The final Hot Boy straight six from BMW. This thing's gonna have like 340 wheel horsepower, naturally aspirated, individual throttle bodies. Like, this is the coolest thing ever. All right, Mr. Transmission, you and me have a date with the vapor hoder. All right, so peasants put dirty parts in their cars. Normal, cool guys clean their parts in their sinks. Even cooler guys sandblast their parts. But elite gentlemen, vapor hone. She's a pretty sweet rig. All right, so vapor honer is basically same concept as like media blasting, where it mixes like sand media with water. And let me tell you, it's one of the best experiences a man can have. And now, ladies and gentlemen, clean transmission. All that dirt looking stuff is just the media that we use to blast it. So we're just gonna power wash this off and it's gonna look brand new. I love this thing. All right, so we're swapping out all the transmission bolts with newly plated ones. You got it. Good job, guys. When we got here this morning, it was little more than a shell, and now it is taking shape as not only a car, but a very, very, very cool car. Big day, buttoning up the brakes. Drive shaft should go in today. Diff should go in today. We're gonna do a lot of little stuff because tomorrow we're hoping to start this thing. So the face goes on the beast today, and then tomorrow the heart starts beating. Let's get to work. So we got our drive shaft from Drive Shaft Pro, and the drive shaft center support bearing doesn't line up with the holes on the bottom of the car, and that is because my car is an early car, and we have the two center support bearings right here. This is from an early car, and this is from a later car. Later car is what came on the drive shaft. On the early cars, the holes are a lot further apart, so we're swapping this later one out for this earlier one. There's a lot of little stuff like that between early model E30s and later model E30s that is just like slightly different. So make sure if you're working on your car, you kind of pay attention to that. Doesn't come up that often, but when it does, it matters. So don't be smashing your freaking drive shaft with a regular old hammer. You're gonna smash your drive shaft, invest in a fancy hammer. This one's made out of brass.
All right. Now we put our shafts together and we're done. Good?
Yeah, that's good. Is that far enough?
No. So what you want to do, if you don't want to beat the out of it, you put this one in first and then spline that one. It'll be much easier. Well, yeah, because you only got...
Got it started.
So besides having an LSD re-geared, ECS went ahead and sent us over the Z3M diff cover. So we're about to slap it all together and put it up.
What's really crazy is how much stuff we're adding to this old car and fitting it behind really smaller bumpers than what came on in stock. This is a massive oil cooler compared to what came on the car. The engine's bigger, the plenum is huge. We're finding places to stash everything. So accessories are going on. Wiring harness is getting buttoned up. We're at the point right now where you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but there's tons and tons of little tiny stuff to do. These are replicas of the mirrors found on the Group A BMWs from the 80s. I had to order these from England because they have the little air inlet. It's easier to find the ones without the inlet. It ends up looking kind of like Shrek's ears, and I really wanted the inlets. And they are functional inlets. It's so you can drive around a racetrack with your windows up and get some ventilation into the cabin to help you keep cool. But this is not a real race car, so these will butt right up to the tweeters in my doors. So we're gonna cut these off. Plus I have AC, so we don't need extra ventilation. So we're gonna cut this part off. So the tires I have on the 17s are not made to go in the rain. I also have a set of much cheaper 16-inch wheels that came stock on an old 7 Series. We powder coated them gloss black. These look sick. Ready?
Yeah.
Damn. I feel like an idiot. So I got wheels that are great. Tires did math. Tires from my old wheels definitely fit. Perfect offset, perfect size, based on research and experience. And then at the last minute I was like, oh, what if we got a second set of wheels, just a cheap set to like rock most of the time. Again, tires that would fit, got them mounted and looked at them and were like, what if we put a wider tire on there? That would be cool. Got another set of tires, might not get a refund for the other set. Mounted these thicker tires, and now we're almost starting the car and deciding that we're gonna do a bunch of body work after we're done with this video. I'm a f***ing idiot. So car's on the ground. I don't feel like an idiot anymore. The 245s were definitely the move. Dude, like the red carrying through the interior, you can see it peeking in the suspension stuff. Freaking awesome.
My BMW scraped the floor.
Airbox is like crashing into the firewall. So right now your motor is like a little reverse rake, you can call it. It's higher in the front than the rear. We're just gonna shim it and level that out a little bit to give us that clearance without having to push the motor forward. Because obviously the further the motor is towards the firewall, the better it is for handling. Right.
We're gonna have to cut a piece of the back of it off. Today's the day. Trying to start the motor. It's not starting, but everyone seems to know a couple reasons why that might be. So no need for concern, but definitely anticipation.
We're trying to make it dramatic.
Yeah.
You know, what fun is it if the car just turns on? Right? She runs.
Sick. We are putting body panels on, putting the front valence on. This is a BBS front valence, apparently pretty rare, but another person at Donut has the exact same one. And then front
bumper will go on.
These lights are made by a company called Dapper Lighting. They look stock, so they have like the fluted glass, but then they also have angel eyes and projectors. And yeah, it's just like a whole bunch of little things that you don't notice at first. Every single part of this car is going to be changed. Non-M3 E30s are technically 5-seaters. M3s are 4-seaters, so 2 front seats and then just 2 seats in the rear. And M3 rear seats are like $1,200, and then that's for like an old seat that you're probably gonna have to get recovered anyway. So we had our upholsterer build us a more extreme version of the E30 M3 seat, making it a 4-seater, and the bolsters are a little bit more aggressive than what came in the E30. It's kind of based on like an 86 series, and yeah, I'm very happy with it. I was a little nervous about it, but I think it looks pretty sick. Definitely fits with the aesthetic of the car.
Dude, look at those though.
You! This car looks incredible. It's beyond my wildest dreams, and I can't stress enough that this would have been impossible without ECS Tuning for helping out with this build and providing us with a ton of parts. For those of you that don't know, ECS Tuning is the best place to get European parts. They've been the homies forever. Mikey Day, who actually developed the airbox for this car, is currently at Donut helping us build the roll cage for our Ranger build. It doesn't matter if you need genuine parts, aftermarket, or performance, ECS carries it, and they back it up with their amazing lifetime replacement program. You need something replaced in your lifetime? They got a program for that. They're genuinely awesome people. We love them. You're gonna love them too. Check out ECS Tuning, click the link below. Now let's go drive this car. All right, first start. Dude, we got chopped, dude. Listen to that idle, bro. Dude, this is my car? All right, Chris, let's get out of here. Build this thing to drive with the homies in the canyons, and we've arranged a perfect homie to drive with today. When we started this journey 5 days ago, I was nervous that we were gonna ruin a really good car. This E30 is the best car I've ever owned, and before we took it apart, it did everything pretty well. But in the pursuit of something even better, me and a couple of good friends tore it down to the bones, and the result is something almost perfect. A classic BMW with a modern stomach that revs to 9,000 RPM and looks truly unique. I guess the lesson is, sometimes, in order to be truly happy, you have to give up what's comfortable in the moment, rip it down to the shell, and rebuild. Dude, it's so good. Okay, so this is already my favorite car I've ever owned, and in the past week we've made it so much better. Chris, thank you so much for helping, dude. This is like my dream car. That's what happens. Cars make good friends. Friends make good cars. Friends build good cars. Make sure you check them out and their YouTube channel. I'm gonna link to one of their videos right here. Check Chris out on social media at Castro Motorsport, and thank you so much to our partners who made this build possible. ECS Tuning, thank you to CB Collision, Chris's body shop. His brother painted the car. CSF radiators, ground control coilovers, huge shout. Ermler Racing Wheels, S-Rank Auto Upholstery, Borla Exhaust, and thank you guys for coming along on this journey with us. This has been so fun. I love you, and I love this car, and I love my friend Chris. Dude, look how sick it is.